Okay, so I'm going to give you a tour of the garden, and we're going to start here because this is the first thing we did when we moved here 2.5 years ago. Let's see, today's May 12th, 11th, and the first thing we did when we moved here 2.5 years ago is Mike built this spiral step case up to the rose garden, which wasn't here, but we added it once the staircase was placed here. So on my left is a shade garden. Right now it's in the sun, but most of the time this is in the shade. And it's mostly Shasta daisies and some other plants. You can see the Santa Barbara daisy and some other plants that do well in the shade. Actually, I started with this dry creek bed. That's actually where the little bit of rain we get, that's where it goes down the hill. So I built that dry creek bed where the rain, when it does rain, goes down the hill. Anyway, these are all shade plants, and we're going to go up the stairway into the rose garden. So follow me. Come on, Duke. Come on. Duke will join you. Okay, so the first rose is Julia Child. It's also called the butter rose. You can see why. It's got that deep yellow color. So I planted that a year and a half ago. And then this is mini rose. This is the only rose that I brought from Playa del Rey. But you can see how it likes it here. It's doing a lot better here than it did in Playa del Rey. And then all the others I planted about 2 years ago. This is ketchup mustard. This is my favorite, I think. I like all of them, but I like this one because it's got these, well, I like the colors. And it has a beautiful scent. And also it has, the flowers just keep opening. It's like a double rose. It just keeps opening. You can see why how it got its name, because it has that nice yellow and red. So that's that one. And we've got, I planted these, they're called Pacific Spire Salvia, to just get a contrast color. And then, let's see, hot lips in front there because they're drought tolerant. And then lavender. So all those are drought tolerant, so that we don't have that much water up there. And then just an assortment of roses, so you can see what we've got going here. There's a lot of poppies in through here. They're kind of, I just deadheaded them because they're at their end of their life cycle now. They might come back, they will come back in September. And on the edge, we've got some California natives, just as kind of a barrier. Over here we've got tomatoes, and we've got, this one's an heirloom tomato, and over here is a cherry tomato. And this one is a mystery tomato that I got from the master gardeners. They didn't know what it was. I don't know what it is. So we'll find out when I eventually, hopefully get tomatoes out of it. Tomatoes are hard to grow here because it's so cold. Last night it was 35 degrees. So it's really hard to grow tomatoes. And that was one of the things they told us when we moved here, is like, you can't grow tomatoes here. So that was a challenge. It's like, no, we can, you're going to grow tomatoes here. We can grow tomatoes here. So the first year I had all kinds of tomatoes, and I gave tomatoes to all the neighbors. It was like a challenge. Everything's a challenge. Okay, so we're going to keep going. I'm going to show you the first year I didn't get any. Second year I had one up here. And this year, I'll show you, it took me 3 years to figure it out. So this year I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 or 5. But I finally figured out I got to plant them in the fall, which I've been doing, but they need water, and we got to really watch for rodents because they just come through here and they just eat everything between the gophers and the moles and snails. It's not a rodent, but we got to just really watch for everything. We come out here between Mike and I, we come out here every day and just police the premises. Because if you don't, something's going to eat what we've got, what we've worked so hard to get. So we've got the sweet pea coming up. And this is my little kind of cottage garden area. That's about all I have because any more than that, it takes a lot of water and I don't want to use a lot of water. So I got a hollyhock here. Got several hollyhocks. They're biennial, so got quite a few coming up, but they won't bloom until next year. So they do really well here in Slow. So I've got some more on the other side. And I'll walk over there. We're going to walk to the other side of the cottage garden area. So you can see the hollyhocks. This is a pink one here. This was like 8 feet tall. I cut it back, but they just keep growing. They're amazing. And some sunflowers and nasturtiums, and it took me 2 years to get the nasturtiums to come up. And I have another sweet pea growing here. And we're trying to redo the area back here. This was all like weeds and grasses, and we got the weeds out. Now we're going to put bark down and try to get this area under control. Then an espalier against the well. It's a well area. At first we were going to just redo the whole building and everything, and finally decided let's just get some green stuff growing around it. So I guess that's it for this area. So we'll pick up in another section of the garden.